Good morning, everyone. This is the Abundance Oracle. It's very, very early. The sun is just starting to come up over the water, and we have some very good news from yesterday that we're going to talk about just a little bit more today. So, Governor DeSantis from Florida, I'm sure you know the name. He was really, I think he's very public about things. Oh, please subscribe if you can. I always forget that. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to talk. He has just signed off on bill and a number I don't like, but okay, 999. It is to legalize gold and silver as legal tender. So that means in the future, in Florida, you have the ability of buying and selling things and trading gold and silver in your possession as legal tender. So this is very good news. This means, I'm going to call it the good guys, are winning slow and steady and very decisive wins. That doesn't mean we're not going to hit bumps in the road, because the people that are more world views, if you know what I'm saying, global views, are very much in opposition to all this independence that's starting to show up in the public. Okay. So I want to tell you a little story, because this gives me a lot of hope, and it's small indicators that I see happening around that lead me to believe that there's a larger plan. Now, why would I be wondering what that larger plan is? Well, I'm going to tell you a story. As you know, I've been in places where there is a lot of influential people with lots of money. And I'm going to tell you this one story, and this is what Ron DeSantis, it reminds me of in this Florida issue. Okay, let me get to it. So there's a gentleman that I've interacted with and have had some contact with in the past, who had a very nice big estate. And he wanted to put up, there's a small ballroom at his place, at his estate. Smaller. I mean, for you and me, we probably I don't have a ballroom, but there's influential people. Okay. So he went to the town and he said he would like to expand the ballroom and make it a little bit bigger. And the way it's situated is basically on all four sides actually. It's sort of in the center of his property. So you wouldn't be, even an expanded ballroom, you wouldn't be able to see it from any side of the property except across the water. If you had binoculars or something and you were looking over these plans, you would be able to see. But who's going to stand in their house looking over your binoculars at your neighbors? Hopefully not very many people. Okay. He went to the town and asked, I would like to, sorry, I know I'm trying to keep it so you're not, hold on, so you can see as the sun rises, it changes the lighting. Let me see if I do this for you. Yeah, that helps a little, the picture. Okay, so the county said, no, you can't put that ballroom. There were two issues, a ballroom and a very tall flagpole. He wanted to raise this flagpole. And the town, who is in a very exclusive town, they all said, no, you're not going to be able to increase the ballroom. We don't care if you're not going to be able to see it. Your neighbors aren't going to be able to see it. But they did that because they really just didn't like the guy. And why didn't they like the guy? Because he was a newer gentleman, not someone who grew up generation after generation in a wealthy family, an extremely wealthy family. His family had wealth, but not like these people in this town were extremely wealthy generation after generation after generation. And they wanted to protect not just the town and the real estate. They wanted to protect something which is too far reaching. It is very un-American. And that is they wanted to keep out certain people, and they wanted to make it difficult for them to be able to have what they want so that maybe they would leave. Well, this guy's very determined, and he's smart, and he's a good family man. And he decided, okay, well, I'm going to hire a lawyer and I'm going to fight. So that's what he did, hired a lawyer and fought. And they still said, no, no, no. Okay. So given that he's smart and he knew that this was all a fight against trying to get him to leave because he didn't fit into a certain type of person. So it was not about the rules. It was about, I think they just wanted to keep their old boy network, let's call it. So you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. What he did, and I remember that week, I said, this is the most incredible, brilliant thing that I've seen in my life. At the time, I was in my 20s. So all of a sudden, I was sitting by the pool, and all of a sudden, all these trucks come in early in the morning, and they start unpacking. And what they build, which is totally legal, is a non-permanent structure that was so magnificent. It's just having the story and everything is better than him being able to build out the ballroom. And it gave him more flexibility. So let me just tell you about this tent that now was the expanded ballroom. It had parquet floors, and they couldn't be permanent, so they all clicked together. The wood floors clicked together. I don't know if you know what parquet is, but they're like wood pieces that click together, and they were made so well that they didn't need, the land was already flat, but they didn't need like concrete or anything beneath them. The windows in a tent, the windows were sewn into extremely tough, thick canvas. I don't know where you ever buy this. You probably go to the extreme of having it made. And the windows with all the minions, like these type of minions, were sewn into the tent. The ceiling was like a white, you know when you go to a wedding, it's a white high center of the tent, the ceiling of the tent, I'm going to call it. I don't know if it's called a cap or whatever, but it's the ceiling of the tent was very well structured, and the poles were larger and stronger so that they would fit in to keep everything like the windows the way it's supposed to be. There was a rolled in that stayed on the outside of the tent air conditioning system in this large tent. And to top off a lot of this, there was a stage put in there just like you'd have in a ballroom, and chandeliers hanging from crystal chandeliers hanging from the roof of the tent. All of this stuff could be packed up and shipped out, moved out, so it was a non-permanent structure. Now, why does that, excuse me, I haven't even finished my cup of coffee for the morning yet. Now, why does that make a difference? And this was all legal and no permission had to be given from the town. If the town allowed a permanent structure, it would have increased the value of the real estate. In turn, the taxes that the town got to collect would also be increased. So the town would have profited from an expanded ballroom. But these people, it didn't matter to these people because they were more committed in keeping someone out than doing what was right and following the rules. So this person followed the rules and made out because there was a non-permanent structure didn't get taxed. So it saved the cost of probably the cost of the tent. And I don't know the numbers. I didn't ask, and I don't have, I don't think that would be right for me to ask. But I thought this is one of the most brilliant things I've seen, except for the next thing I'm going to tell you is the flagpole. Remember I told you the guy wanted a flagpole at a higher, the way the house is, so it would be up high instead of a small flagpole. And the rule was from the base of the ground that you put the flagpole in, you could only have it a certain amount of feet up in the air. So they were so stubborn, these people, that the solution he found was to raise the ground. So he got his flagpole. I just said, this is teaching me so much on how to be creative, follow all the rules. And it's a magnificent place that he ended up with, and he and his family ended up with. And it just shows you that where there's a will, there's a way. If you want to make things work in life, sometimes you have to think. And if you can't do it, then maybe you have to hire the lawyer to read through all those rules that there are and find out how it can be a win-win situation, that you can please the owner, the real estate owner, as well as keeping inside the rules of the town. And that place is so magnificent. And it's almost as good as a story I was told by a friend of his. And that was one day he was driving someplace, and he had a driver, the limousine. And the limousine had a flat tire. And that day was pouring rain. So the driver took a second, and they were discussing what to do about the flat tire. Do they call someone? But he had to be at a certain place at a meeting in a certain amount of time. So they were trying to figure out how to solve this problem. A gentleman who was on his way home from work, it was a tradesman. I'm trying to think about I don't know if I was ever told what kind of trade, but it was a tradesman pulled up behind the limousine. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm just not awake yet. Oh, you see the sun coming up behind my head over here? It's coming up over my little pond here. Okay, so the gentleman got out in the pouring rain, pouring rain, and knocked on the driver's door and said, "Can I help you?" That's like, wow, there's still people like this around. And the driver said, "Well, there's a tire in the trunk, and we need to get someplace, and we both need to be not sopping wet." We were sitting here trying to figure out how to make this work. So the gentleman, oh my gosh, sorry. The gentleman was kind and changed their tire while the two men sat in the car. I get so inspired. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So he gave the gentleman a $20 bill and told the driver, "Please take the name of and telephone number on the side of the truck." The next morning, he told his secretary, "Find out who that man is and where he lives." And this is just the kind of guy that I know that you all may not, that may miscategorize him sometimes, I feel. He paid off his house mortgage for the man. No word, no anything. The bank just sent a notice that your mortgage has been paid off. Now, is that a hero? Can you imagine your goodwill, without even knowing, gets the house paid off? There's not a lot of people that can do that I know, that do things like that. I had two people in my life like that, too. So I'm going to tell you, there's hope for where this country's heading. And all this negativity that you see coming out on YouTube, people are running scared. And there's hope. But we might go through rocky times to get to the other side of this mess we're in with the FED and what has been done over a couple decades. To unravel this is not going to be fast, but it can be unraveled. And it's starting to happen. So hang in there tight. Help those people you know that might need help if you can afford to do that and have the wherewithal. Stick together. You know who your good friends are that you can count on. Keep those close. It might get rocky. You know we have people in our country that are out to cause problems, and those people were brought into the country by others who do not want we the people to win. It's sort of, in my opinion, like a second revolution. So anyway, I love you all. If you're going to follow this channel, you got to get used to sometimes sentimentality, and I apologize, but that's just who I am. Okay, love you. This is the Abundance Oracle. Please subscribe and share if you can. Have a fabulous day. Here's the sun coming to brighten your day. Love ya. Bye-bye.